tienes esa cosa especial, bella mariposa especial, ella con su rosa especial, todos quieren ese especial, tú tienes esa cosa especial, bella mariposa especial.
Huzzah, I am Monk, your host. Welcome to PIDCAST Episode 2, the podcast by fans, for fans, and for the people still waiting on that therapy money from KSE. PIDCAST is a part of the Bangarang soccer community, telling soccer stories a mile in the sky and on till morning. And boy, are we telling stories this year. Don't forget to check out our NWSL sister show, Sum It Up, our new interview series, Interrobang, and our bi-weekly Rapids 2 show with Keith Richardson, R2P2. I'd like to introduce Fantasy Queen and Rugby Queen, I guess now, Fattori.
Hey, Monk. Looking forward to a good conversation today. Happy home opener week, everybody.
And the guy who can't wait for Pokemon Day this Friday, Matt.
Wait, it's Pokemon Day this Friday?
This Friday is they're going to be doing a bunch of big announcements for Gen 10 and stuff like that, a bunch of other games as well. But it's the 27th of February was when it was first released.
Dang,
so it's always been Pokemon
I didn't even
Day.
have a fun quip for that. I was just genuinely interested.
I was really hoping that you would have something, and you gave me nothing.
I was just what?
Now I got to say the nerd crap.
Yeah.
He doesn't keep track of that because he's already caught them all.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I told
you
the
that DLC already. He has a whole living dex, shinies included.
Wait, what?
That's where you have one of each Pokemon and one of each shiny Pokemon. Yeah,
I don't understand.
I can nerd out on Pokemon all day. Don't let me start.
So I've only played the games on Switch, so I don't understand the shiny thing about the cards. I don't know.
Well, holographic, yeah. Anyways, one of my first cards ever was a holographic Charizard, and man, all the boys wanted me to trade in Pokemon Club. And anyways,
but
that's old news.
Off to the races.
Episode 2. We're actually trying to delay as much as we can because the podcast is not going to be super fun for the first half. But let's get into PIDDER Chatter first. How's it going, Matt?
Well, speaking of that, it's a cold world. While Colorado had an illuminating experience in the Pacific Northwest, the Colorado kid enjoyed the fruits of moving from a park named Dick's to one called Providence, as he tallied his first assist for the Timbers, graded out as the highest rated player on Portland, and ran for what is scientifically referred to as a metric fuck ton. Fan reviews were over the moon for Cole Bassett, and Phil Neville called him probably our best player. Does it sting a little, guys? It feels like it stings a little.
I hope Amy
terrible.
is proud.
It is. And okay, we sold him and got some money out of that, but I still we're getting rid of these cores, and we'll get into it a little bit later when we get into the game, but just the comparison of what we've given up compared to what we performed as is showing that we sold a lot of talent and didn't bring in a lot of talent on the same level.
I think it's going to be easy to take this result as a we effed up kind of move, but I'll try to remember who said it, but there was a comment on Blue Sky, the sports app this weekend, that said Cole Bassett with a chip on his shoulder is the best Cole Bassett. And I think we saw that in Portland. I'm not sure we would have seen that in Colorado, but man, did he stunt out the first chance he got after being spurned by the Rapids.
It's easier to be a well-performing player with a well-performing team. So.
All right. Meanwhile, formerly known as PIDS, Calvin Harris middled on a bottom team in Kansas City. Rafael Santos got to play real wingback in St. Louis. Georgie got a goal, and alas, poor Ollie, we did not see ya. Ollie didn't feature in Vancouver. Georgie looked really good in Toronto. I watched that game. I'm still a big Mihailovic stan. Any of you guys watch Georgie in Toronto?
I didn't get to see that one.
I saw the highlights.
I thought you followed Milo, Monk.
I do, but I barely am willing to watch the Rapids game at this point.
We're not there yet. Save it for the pod, Monk. Save it for the
Save it for
pod.
the pod. Don't talk about stuff.
All right. Speaking of FKA PIDs, baptism by fire, vines back on the open market as Colorado makes the choice to waive homegrown Sam vines the day before the season opening. Wells spoke a bit on this in the postgame presser, stating that he only wants 2 left backs on the roster, that Jackson Travis had a great camp, and that he's liked what he's seen, even in the little bit of time that Miguel Navarro has been a Rapid once more. More salaciously, he continued that his culture could not have hierarchies in the locker room, leading to rampant speculation around Colorado's 2 most recent departures. What do you guys think of the second leaving of Sam Vines?
I'm glad for it. Like, I wrote him last season. He's just, since he came back, he has not performed. He has not done what he was doing before he left. And for whatever reason that is, he has just really, really struggled. And like, it screws up my predictions because I was like, he has the most opportunity for growth on this team if he starts as our back. And then they're like, nope, he's gone. And honestly, I'm going to give the Rapids some credit here. They cut him and they paid him out. Like, they didn't even go like, hey, we're just going to keep him on the bench or throw him to Rapids 2 for the season. They just paid him out and got him out of our contract. And so I think that says a little bit. I wonder if you run into the same issue that you ran in with a little bit with Cole last season, where he was saying I was being played out of position, blah, 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 and kind of talking some crap about coaches and things like that. Like, how much of that has played into these 2 players maybe having gotten an ego by playing over in Europe for a little bit, even though they didn't really perform much out there?
Yeah.
Did they come back and did they have this big ego? And that's something that the Rapids have been very consistent about, is not having players with ego in our locker room, which is why we also might struggle a little bit to bring in some really, really talented players. But it has been something they've said for years and years and years, coach to coach to coach, has been, we don't want ego in our room.
I also think that, like, sometimes if you want to do a culture shift, you just got to have turnover. And I think that, like, these boys have both been around for a long time and they're going to hold on to some of, like, the old habits and old visions of what the Rapids are. And so if you're trying to break that mold, you sometimes that means some people have to leave. I think it's a really cool opportunity for Cole to, like, it kind of just reminds me of when you leave to college and you can, like, rebuild and rebrand yourself away from home. Like, this is his homegrown team, and the ability to go and be someone new is cool. I would cringe a little bit every time I saw Vines on the field and just be like, oh no, what's he gonna mess up next? So maybe that was bad conditioning and unfair on my part, but I didn't lose any tears on seeing him going.
This kind of reminds me of the old advice of, when you go to prison, the first thing you do is find the biggest guy in the yard and punch him right in the face to set the tone for the rest of your stay there. And Wells coming in and vis-a-vis punching Cole and Sam in the face, I think really sets a tone as to this season, this locker room, and who's leading the charge in this club.
I do want to just let you all know that we can shift both Rapids culture and prison culture, because Luigi Mangione, his commissary is always sold out. So he's just like buying treats for the whole prison. They freaking love him. And so you also can win people over with honey buns.
That brings up a great point. There's going to be an event that I'm going to this week. The Rapids have introduced a new menu ahead of the home opener. There's going to be a $5 concession menu, as well as the return of GB Fish and Chips. Maria's Empanadas will be there, amongst other things. They're doing a tasting on Thursday. I'm jazzed to try all the things.
Are you lying to us right now?
No,
No.
I'm not lying at all.
This is real? How
you
did
wanna
I
go?
not see this? When is it?
We got the email invitation. It's Thursday. You can.
They posted it up on their socials. Like,
Do you
all the
wanna
changes
take my
and
spot?
stuff like that, I'm pretty sure.
No. I'm excited to hear your I feel like you're more of a foodie. You'll have a much better feedback. Are you
Yeah,
going to take Insta photos of all the food you eat?
probably. And put like
Good.
some really snappy filters on it and everything and some sound
Oh,
effects.
like that Olympian who has a entire Instagram feed that's entirely Caesar salad reviews.
Wait,
We could
what?
start a Yeah, you haven't heard about this? I'll find out who
No.
I'll find the name. But we could just start a like Dick's Sporting Goods food account.
Okay. Okay. I like it.
Well, I can only afford to buy off the $5 menu, and I don't know how good that one's going to be.
Oh yeah, it's the women's hockey goalie. Because they found her Instagram account. It's called Pain by Romaine, and it's just all of her critical reviews of Caesar salad she orders.
That's amazing. You know what else is
Women
amazing?
are so cool.
That the women's hockey team won a gold medal and didn't celebrate with an ass.
It is wild. I love you both.
Straight cash,
but it is
homie.
wild how easy men make it for women to look good.
Well,
Sometimes. Did you see the tweet that was like,
speaking of women looking
Okay.
good, for our visual listeners out there, let's look at rugby model Sara Fattori in the brand new Topo Designs and Colorado Rapids colorful Colorado capsule collection rugby shirt. Look at this model here.
y'all,
Monk,
I'm obsessed.
Monk,
Fit-
for the non-visual listeners, can you give us a little ASMR description of what Sara looks like right now?
She is a brunette. She loves long walks. Hold on. Okay. This is what I wanted our jersey to be. Honestly. Like that burgundy with like the stripes across it. It's got like the green and then the blue and then the green callback. And then it's got the current shield, right? And then a 96 on the other shoulder. It's obviously long sleeve, got a great color. I don't like collared for soccer jerseys, but it looks so nice. And if they'd done this in a soccer jersey, I would have just fucking bought 5 of them.
And the people at Topo know what they're doing, so they have the rubber buttons, like a good classic actual usable rugby jersey. You know, I could get tackled in this and it's not going anywhere. I'm so excited. I will say I ordered it online. It arrived super quick. Sizing was exactly as described. I don't buy merch often because I often find all of the merch to be very boy-y. And I was thrilled when I saw this come out, bought it right away, and won't be taking it off till the Rapids get their first win.
So 2027.
It could be a while.
You're going to be like that. What is it? The Arsenal kid that's never cut his hair? This is going to be like Sara Fattori soaked in sweat and body oils.
And beer.
600 days in to wearing this Topo rugby shirt.
Oh, man.
Worth it. Why you start an Instagram account, you'll make so much money off of it. It's
I
like
should just sell it to someone. I bet these odors are worth thanks.
Save that for the only pids. This is a different type of account, Sara. But dialing us back in, I do think Monk is right. I kind of thought that's what was going to happen with the black kit when they released it, that it was going to have some sort of blue, green, gold piping across the chest. I even thought we were going to get kind of a Nuggets like skyline style jersey with the mountains and the piping of the colors. But if they had put this out, or honestly, now that we've all seen it in like real life color, like if they just made this jersey the next home jersey, done.
Yeah.
Sign us up.
And
this is the cool design, right? Like, stop playing it safe, because this is like not playing it safe. It's still actually kind of safe. It's not.
Wait, you
really
think a
out
black
there.
kit called Colorful Colorado is playing it safe, Monk?
Yes, I do. Just doing one solid color and then being like, oh, this is like whatever they name it. But like at the end of the day, they played a safe, just like one color with our stripes and a little like they didn't do anything that was like, let me push the boundaries of how cool a jersey can look. They're like, let's go just something that's like black is just a safe thing to do, even if it doesn't fit your color scheme.
I agree. And I also I think the time to really go wild was the OG kit. With that throwback jersey, and I also think that the outcome we got was cool. I think that green jersey is cool. It was safe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Monk and Fattori get to design the next jersey. It will be purple.
Done.
And
Before we move off Topo, I did go to the event last Friday night at the Topo flagship store down on 25th and Larimer. If you guys haven't been down there, I'm a big fan of Topo. Also, the store's aesthetic is really fun. And it's right over there by one of our favorite restaurants, Working Class. Shout out Working Class. Go there, get some metal trays of meat. It's amazing. But people were in good spirits. Everyone was out. People were actively trying things on, vibing with the gear. And I got to talk to Hamzat Ojedarin and Dante Seeley. You guys might remember from episode 1, Dante Seeley, official PIDCAST player of the pod for 2026, and the Destroyer himself, Hamzat Ojedarin. Monk, Sam Vines is no longer a Rapid. You have to pick a new prediction.
Dang it.
Needless to say, both of the guys, cool as hell, so nice, jazzed to be here in Colorado. I think Hamzat was saying he got 1 day in Colorado between signing and going to Florida. And I think Dante had 5 total. So they're still very much just dipping their toes into the Platte as they get around Denver. But they were jazzed up.
They joined that fishing. And they need to join that private fishing company that's out there, right?
oh yeah, the Wigwam Club.
The
Throwback to last
Oh,
season.
Yeah.
nice. I was like, where are we going with this? Suncor, the earthworms pulling up the uranium in Rocky Flats. Like,
I'm glad Fattori caught on, or I would have just been staying there because I had no idea what the actual name was. I knew it was something weird, and I was like, I couldn't draw it.
It's
Yeah.
one of my favorite Colorado deep cut. Like it. Okay, I'm gonna regret saying this, but it's like our Epstein Island. It not that I think like pedophilia is happening there, but it's like a secret rich people only place where some of the top people in the country are going. No one knows what happens there.
the chances we make it to episode 3
are shrinking
getting
a lot. We're
dimmer
really
every
going for
moment.
We're
The
really going for it.
Wigwam Club lobby is gonna come after PIDCAST hard for that one.
Oh,
They're
man.
like half of our listeners, obviously.
You look over your shoulder as you're walking around Colfax.
Someday we go down into the Wigwam Club and there's just like PIDCAST memorabilia on the walls. They're just recording.
We'll be all right. We'll be all right as long as we don't go to like the suites up on the top where they're actually hanging out. We should be okay. They don't come hang out with the hooligans.
Oh man. Okay, let's keep it moving, kids.
Yeah, speaking of hanging out with the hooligans,
Oh my god, this game.
what happened?
Oh, it was just
well,
god awful. You want to take it, Fattori, or do you want me to do it?
Well, I'll do a quick little step. So the Rapids, of course, played Seattle in Lumen Field in Seattle for the season opener this past Sunday. So one of the last game of the week at 7:30 p.m. It was a rough game from beginning to end. Score ended as who could have possibly predicted 2-0 in Seattle's favor in a game that I would imagine my host would agree with me could have very easily been a 3-0 or a 4-0 game based on performance and some calls that were overturned or changed and went our way. So the Rapids come home this week hoping to find a different outcome, but it kind of gave us a peep into what might be a starting lineup for us and some key weaknesses the team has to overturn in the next few weeks if they want different outcomes.
That was just okay. God awful performance. Just god awful from the Rapids. It was just so bad. But we'll get to that. First, what the hell was the ref doing? I have no idea. He was confusing the commentators. The commentators were like, okay, why? Because they had a second goal in the first half that got called back, and I was like, I don't even know what they're asking about. And then they said it was like a late hit, and I was like, see, like we got lucky on that. That was a soft call.
Yeah, the commentators originally thought it was like obstructing the goalkeeper's ability to defend, and then it wasn't. And then they're like, maybe it was offsides.
And then they pinned it on the wrong guy who wasn't actually involved in the play.
Yeah, there was a penalty before the shot, so that should have. Yeah, but wild.
But like the penalty was soft, and I don't think it was like a foul in that. Like it wasn't a late hit. Everybody went up. I didn't really see it. Like, and I'm usually the guy that's yelling, give us every call. This, I don't know how we pulled that off.
I don't know how we got this call either, but I do see why we could have gotten the call.
Mhm.
So, what happened in that moment is that the initial strike at the goal, I think, got parried out, and then the striker for Seattle, De Rosario, goes up at the same time Yappy goes for the header. Yappy clearly wins the header. Yappy is going forward, so he's clocked the ball. He's making a play on it, and Rosario comes straight into Yappy's left temple, and then Yappy just crumbles to the ground. I don't know if that's gamesmanship or if that's a blow to the head, but the letter of the law states when you have a concussion, symptom or potential risk like that, if a player takes a head injury and immediately goes horizontal to the ground, play's supposed to be stopped immediately. So I think the call ended up going towards us because the play should have stopped the moment Yappy ragdolled to the ground, and they shouldn't have gotten the chance to get that shot off. And I think that's what he saw in VAR. I think that's also probably what was coming through his ear as he was looking through VAR, that the league is going to be a little more careful around those types of situations.
But they didn't say that. They called a foul. Like, it's not, oh, he had a concussion protocol, because they could have just said, hey, he took a hit, play should have been stopped. I disagree with that mentality. Like, you should stop the play when you do a concussion protocol, right? Like, immediately. But if that doesn't happen, I would argue that it is unfair to take away that goal for that reason, right? Like, right after that. Like, if it'd been like 30 seconds after, yeah, then you're like, okay, then the ref should have blown the damn whistle. But that was real quick right after, right? He didn't blow the whistle. I don't know. And then they called the foul, and I was like, I didn't actually see a foul. I saw two guys going up, and one guy just got there slightly faster. There's no way for him to stop movement in that moment, right? You can't
I
stop
agree.
going in the air.
Whether it was stopped because of the foul or the concussion protocol, I think it's just simply they're going to take a head hit more seriously. And I think it's smart. If folks remember, on the field as this was happening is Stefan Fry, who last season got kicked in the head and was down in a game that ended up being called against Columbus, right? And he was out for games because of his head injury. So as someone who's had 2 concussions in the last few years and still goes to a neurologist for it, I'm all for more serious concussion approaches. I wondered, though, if it was we got kind of the flip side of that ruling later on Noah Cobb's red turned yellow, because that felt like a pretty harsh approach, and it felt kind of like we were getting where we might have got the benefit of the doubt on the first call, we were getting kind of the short end of the stick on that one.
Yeah, that was just god awful. Like, again, the commentators were like, what? Because he got sent off, and they called a yellow when he first got carded, and they're like, oh, yellow card, blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden you see him being sent off the field. I was like, and then I actually posted somewhere, I think it was in Discord, I was like, what the fuck are you doing, Cobb? Because I thought he got it for dissent. I thought he got a second yellow for yelling at the ref for the first yellow. And I was like, what are you, a fucking idiot? And then it came out that he gave him a straight red. I was like, there is nowhere in the world that is a straight red card. You could hit Messi with that, and it's still not a straight red card.
You can't touch Messi. Come on, Monk. Come on.
Tom Brady has taken harder hits and not gotten the call, all right?
Suarez has bitten people and gotten lower calls, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, I feel like the ref had
LeBron James would still be standing.
I think the ref had more time at the screen for VAR than the Rapids had shots.
Possession?
Possession at that point, for sure.
Yeah.
It was 6.1% at that point.
We officially tied, I believe, for the longest first half in MLS history, 61-minute first half.
Wild.
Yeah. I think it's a Columbus game. Yeah.
And it was just to torture us because the Rapids were not performing well.
I do want to say,
having a blast, though. It was MLS After Dark.
I want to say shout out to, honestly, given the flow of play, how things were looking, the fact that we played a 60-minute half and only let one in, I was like, because I made the joke. I was like, guys, if we're 3 down at half, we can just go to the hot tub and not watch the second half. And the first score came in right on time to be 3 down. And then it was like, no, they held out. They paid off the ref. They got that one pulled back. Like, yeah. And that's what I mean by this game, based on what I saw, could have been way worse.
Yeah. And okay, two more to the game because like the ref was chaos for the first half, and we ended up with 4 yellows in the first half. But that's besides the point. We were playing overly aggressive. We looked like the team that was just being dominated, and we were getting in late, and that's what essentially was happening. They were outplaying us, and we were just not, and we were getting cards for it. Navarro got one for being stupid, right? Like we got a couple of those early on, and it was just, I don't know. We just did not look like a team that had done anything to play together. Like there was no cohesion at all in that first half. You saw a little bit of the second half, and you know that it's not a great game when your top performer is an 18-year-old from Australia, right? He was our highest performer on our team.
I mean,
Harrington was just like,
or that's really cool. Flip side of that one.
It'd be really cool if we were all in the green and he was in like ultra green, but
Ultra Green's gonna be our new away kit in
Ultra Green.
2027.
Like I don't know. This is just disappointment, and I started to talk about it a little bit with the Cole and the Georgie stuff, right? Cole goes out, crushes it, has a hell of a game, second best player on the field, best player for Portland, and it just dominates, puts up like an 8.1 performance, I think. And then you look at Georgie, and Georgie's team's lost, and he still put up a 7.7 or something like that, right? Which is above any player on our team. So the two of the players we've gotten rid of in the last 6 months, right? 8 months, just crushed it. And our team couldn't get it out of their own 18. Stefan probably had more touches than any other player on our field in the first half and into the second half. Like, I don't want to watch my team play in my own 18 like that. Like, we're just dribbling the ball around there. Like, that is just, we're asking for them to score a goal on us and screw that up.
Not asking, assisting. We were just passing directly to their team half the time.
Every time Stefan walked up out of the box and just held the ball at his feet and let the 2 Seattle attackers encroach upon him, I was having flashbacks to the 2021 playoff match where Stefan put the ball out and immediately just ricocheted off into the goal. I was like, oh, done.
Yeah, it's just, I don't, and okay, so this is to do an old school callback, like Gary Smith ball, right? This is English soccer, play out of the back, slow stuff. But like, we don't have the team for that. Our defense already lets in goals like all the time last season, and I don't see a lot of improvement there. And the one person I'd argue we had improvement didn't even play.
Like, I will say this, and I noticed this early in the first half, is I could see the vision. A lot of what we were doing, especially like Stefan, going to Lucas, going to Jackson, playing out of the back, we were making Seattle play us wide and then creating creases that we could immediately send the ball up through. So I think we have a vision for what this team will look like when and if they get this system down, and then when and if these young players get the experience. Because the other aspect of this game is how young our lineup was. I think that the shock call when you saw the XI was that both Cobb and Harrington were starting. Rob Holding was not in the starting 11. Jackson Travis was the starting left back. We had Paxton Aronson. You have Dante Seeley, Darren Yappy. So we saw Matt Wells really stand on values, and he put the young kids in. He let the players that had the best camp and showed out the best in Orlando, he let them have at that starting lineup. And I was
And
pretty
maybe
stoked
that's
on it.
not the strategy to have. I'm all for like earning your spot, but those younger players are probably going to be putting in more energy. They're really trying to earn that spot, right? And your older players might be being a little bit lazy, but there is a reason that the Seattle Sounders dominated this game. They have an average age of 29 on the field. We had an average age of 23.5,
which also
right?
is
That
really
tenure,
uncommon for
that
the Sounders.
leadership, yeah, but that leadership is insane. And then their sub came off the bench because Morris went down being old, and he dominated the game, got an assist and a goal. Like, their second tier guy destroyed us.
I mean, I think Seattle fans would argue that Paul Rothrock is no longer a second tier guy, but your point about the youth and not playing leadership veterans, I feel like that comes back every season. But in particular with Matt Wells, we knew he was going to play the kids. We knew he came from an academy background. We knew he wanted them to take the lumps at the beginning of this season and learn the lessons to play really World Cup break on. I talked about this a bit before the season started, that I think we're going to be a second half team. I think we're going to be what I typically viewed Seattle as a team that starts slow, kind of loosen their identity. But then, when the lights come up towards the final half of the season, that's when they click into gear. That's what I expected us to be this season. So I wasn't disappointed by the result. I was pretty entertained by how chaotic it was, but I absolutely loved that Cobb and Harrington were out there early. First match, because I think that's your pairing of the future. I know Rapids are looking for another center back, but Rob's out of contract at the end of the year, and I adore Rob, fantastic person. But if you have a new coach, you're doing a rebuild, and you want to take a chance on your uber talented Aussie giant kangaroo and the guy you just bought from Atlanta that Atlanta fans cried into their beers over, like, go for it. Let them learn on the job as a duo.
I'm sorry, no, kind of, but no, you need to put somebody out there that's going to lead this team. Right. And maybe you're saying Aronson or Navarro is going to do that, and they didn't. So then that's a different conversation. But this is the problem. You can't pretend we're in a rebuild year. We're in a rebuild year every damn year. We're rotating our coach every 2 years. There's never a point where our young players stick around. We sell them every single time. So there's no advantage to this from us actually winning playoff games and championships. The only advantage to it is if we sell and make money off of that and it goes into Kroenke's pocket, because we aren't winning games and playoff games and stuff like that on the back of this team unless they really quickly grow, right? You're not going to go beat the Miamis and the LAs of this league with players that are going to break under pressure in the first playoff game because they've never played in one.
Yeah, I think though I think you are right that, like, so first off, I do think it is funny because Seattle is historically known as a team that plays babies. So it is really funny that we came against them
Morris
playing
like the
babies.
oldest man in the league.
Yeah, but that is like just their thing, right? Like they just like rotate in youngins, especially around international call-ups.
You realize Morris is my age.
Morris feels like he's played for the Sounders since like the 74 NASL inception.
So anyways, I think though what I will highlight, and I think you're right, is that Aronson is not Georgie. And like I think we're sitting back waiting for Aronson to take a leadership position on the field. He was all over the field. Boy plays his heart out, but I don't see him directing flow and really controlling the game the way that Georgie would often do with his team. And so I'm really curious to see what he becomes throughout the season. I also was really a little... Like, I felt like they gave up when they subbed out Aronson and Sealy at the 68th minute. And I understand that they played 60 minutes in the first half. So that was a long freaking game. But it just feels like if that is the leader of our team and you're down, were they 1-0 at that point, or was the second one already in? You're down, but you're not out of it at that point to pull your 10. And this new superstar just kind of sucked.
That's pretty wild to think that they actually pulled him at what, the 83rd minute?
Yeah.
Because of the first half.
Well,
Like
It was
that's wild to me.
uh,
But Sarah, you're right. Paxton was all over, and I think he displayed what a lot of us have talked about, that he's an amazing 9 or 8. He will be a fantastic 8 for this team. He's
mhm.
not Georgie. He's not the 10 we need. And in order to maximize the ROI that we paid for Paxton and to really activate him and the rest of the team, I really hope there's a creative 10 coming in before this transfer window closes. And if not, I hope there's a $10 million 10 coming in the summer window. I would shell out anything Houston asks for to get Jack McGlynn, who is not a traditional 10. He's also an 8, but he's a more attack and creation-minded 8, and he's Paxton's best friend. And if you really want to go with the play the kids aesthetic, the U.S. men's national team B aesthetic, like let 2 like boys just go out there and ball and then reap the joy. Like it seems like a no-brainer. I know that Houston would have to agree to that. There have to be 2 sides in a trade, blah, 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 blah. But it's Texas. They're not big on consent.
Before we move
Oh.
off this game, there's a few things I want to highlight. So we had a conversation about where we would see the captain's armband fall. And we saw that it was our not purple king, Stefan, who was the captain for this game. Also wanted to highlight, because we teased it, I think, last week, but I don't know if we got into it. During our conversation with Jordan Re-Jerseys, he let us know that purple was not in the mix for this year. Which made me very frustrated because I saw Philly's Andre Blake wearing purple. So it doesn't mean that no keepers got purple this year, but only our purple king was not given purple. But
Wait,
I'll take a
what?
captain's armband over purple, I guess.
Was it last year's purple? Was there a jersey mix-up?
Yeah. Oh, I don't think it was a mix-up. I think that some keeps get different colors based on who they're playing and their own team's kit. And for some reason, we're not allowed purple.
Oh, that's wild.
I think they learned
not a
how
fan
powerful he
of
is
that.
in purple. And they were like,
Yeah.
it's an unfair advantage.
And in Black History Month, no less, they wouldn't let our purple king have the power.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm not a
Well-
fan of him being a captain. I love Stefan. I think he's a great leader, but I don't like my captains at the back of the field. I want my captain to be there when it needs to be there to have a conversation with the referee, because in theory, they're supposed to be the one talking to the referee. And if anybody else talks to the referee, they are more likely to get a yellow, right? And with Stefan being all the way back there, it's like, okay, he's got to run up, or like he's just not going to be active in that way. And so that's why I prefer a centralized captain that can be there with the ref.
I
more than
don't
anything.
disagree, but look at that starting lineup, and after seeing how they played and how they played together, where do you put that armband?
Hafa Navahu. Hell
Yeah.
yes. Let him
That's
shine
where
with
I
his
put it.
joy. And then when he does argue with the ref, we plead the 5th because Portuguese is slightly different than Spanish. So it got lost in translation.
Yeah. With how
Like,
they
most
played,
of the refs know
nobody
Spanish,
deserved.
but
Like,
we could say-
Stefan didn't play very well, right?
Oh,
So, like,
I really, I think he
yeah, I
had a
didn't think he
fine
played
game.
that
that
second
first
goal
goal-
was cringy.
yeah.
I put my hands up, letting it in.
Oh man.
No, but
he didn't play
I-
terrible, but he didn't play good, and like that's like our entire team was essentially that's the way it was. But I still think that you could put that on Hoffa or Aronson. You could even put it on Aronson or something like that. But
I will say in the post-game presser, I thought that Zach Steffen really did show composure and leadership. He was obviously wrecked over the result. It seemed the whole team were just gutted by it. And every question he was asked, the answer basically came down to, it's got to start with me. I've got to be better. And like, that's exactly what you want to hear. That's leadership right there. So I know he's in the back, Monk, but we have seen how privy to adventuring Zach Steffen is. So you'll probably find him up the field sometimes this season to argue the call.
well, he touches the ball more than any player on our team right now. So I guess that is why he should be the captain, because that's all we did was pass to him.
All right, couple
He
of
was
his
our
performances.
10.
I want to talk about some highlights. I mean, Keegan Rosenberry was a
What?
9. Keegan Rosenberry was played striker for a while when Tico subbed in. But no, I thought Keegan put in a hell of a shift when he came in for Reggie. Really added to the game. That was something Matt Wells talked about. Is that every sub he put on moved the game forward, and the personalities that he started the game with had no solutions for the problems the game was showing them. So I thought that was pretty candid from Matt Wells, and also passed the eye test of when Keegan came on, when Alexi Manyoma came on. He was a spark plug. He was absolutely everywhere. I want the whole like front six made out of Alexi Manyomas. Or our guy Alex Harris really balled out. I thought he looked well beyond his 21 years of age, and maybe it was the experience of going to the MLS Next Pro Championship with R2 really had him cut his teeth on competition, but he looked absolutely ready for the moment. And then a non-sub performance. I really did like Hamzat Ojeda in this game. I thought he showed all the signs of the six we've been wanting, including marauding straight up the field like Leroy Jenkins, not passing it when he could have, and just putting his head down and taking a shot. I believe Matt Wells, he said that was one of the few moments in the first half when a player took the shackles off, and we need more of those.
Well, you have to get the ball out of your own 18 to do that.
Yeah.
Before we move off this game, I do think it's important that we go back to our score predictions from last time. So, a naive young summer child of Monk and Matt predicted a 3-0 and a 3-2 game. And I said, we've never won in Lumen Field, and these will not be the Rapids to do it. And so I predicted a 0-2 game. Pretty proud, actually, of these exact predictions, because I predicted a Rusnak Morris goals, and Morris subbed out for Rothrock, who was the one who ended up actually getting that second goal. But dead on points. Would have rather been wrong and saw you two win, because it would have been a beautiful day to see our first win in that field.
We all know that you're going to win this tournament you're creating on your own, because I'm always going to choose a win. And the Rapids, what we saw, is not a team that's going to win a lot of games this year. So,
well, Sara, kudos to you, because I do think you're right with Rothrock coming in for Morris in the 7th minute. Positionally, you predicted the score, the scorers. So I know you had a rough season last year losing fantasy. I'm just happy you can start off this season with something under your belt that makes it seem a little more enjoyable. I will say, Monk, I hope we don't recognize the team from Seattle this week in Portland, or this week against Portland. Matt Wells said he didn't recognize the team in Seattle versus the team that played in Orlando and in training camp. But before we get to that, you want to take a look around the MLS?
Yeah, so for listeners returning this season, we historically have done a short fantasy segment in order to highlight some of the great work that folks are playing in the fantasy game. MLS made some substantial changes to their fantasy this year, and it's our assessment that like a lot of people aren't moving to the new fantasy platforms, or that the fantasy platforms are pretty split. And we're not sure that folks are as interested in the fantasy conversation. But what was rewarding out of that conversation for us, and I think maybe for you all as well, is it helped us keep a grip on all of the happenings around the league, what games to look forward to, and what games happened in the previous week. So we want to take a little bit of in our around the week segment to talk through some of the highlights we see. I'll start us off with our season opener opened with a 1-1 draw at St. Louis and Charlotte in St. Louis. Generally a pretty boring game and not notable, but I do think Hartel gets a shout out and a gold star for being the first goal of the season, kicking off our MLS season. And Matt, you want to go ahead and take the one you got?
I got one.
You put it in
Or
the
you?
doc.
Oh, yeah. So I, as we cycle through the games, I'm looking at the scoreboard, and I do think there were several teams that are who we thought they are. There were some surprises. Surprises I thought were DC, even though it was a 1-0 win, beating Philly. Didn't call that. New York Red Bulls jumping up 2-1 over Orlando makes me think that maybe Orlando's not going to be so good this season given their performance against us.
And I will say about that game, not just 2-1 over Orlando, but New York Red Bulls dominated that game.
Yeah.
So that was like the Red Bulls game. To do that away in Orlando is pretty impressive.
Minnesota and Austin. Minnesota is on a new coach and still seem to keep it going. 2-2 draw. Toronto, I thought, was going to win that game against Dallas. I was really pulling for Georgia on that one. Chicago, I thought would be better. I didn't realize Houston was going to come out this strong. Houston looked really good in that match. Nashville, I think, showed that they're going to be a contender this year.
I want to also, one I really want to pull out, and I'm jumping in because I think you're about to say it, is San Diego just wrecked Montreal, a 5-0 over Montreal. Now, we know Montreal for years now has been a fairly weak team, unfortunately. But one thing I really want to highlight on that is we often look at expansion teams and think, oh, they're going to suck their first year, or if they have a good first year, it's just luck. We're going to see fallout. San Diego finished top of the division last year and then was able to come out strong against a Montreal side.
Yeah, I mean that's
the truth is expansion teams have been good. I don't know why we have that theory, right? Atlanta dominated when they came out. Obviously, Miami still did well when they came out. Of course, they have most of the salary pool of the entire MLS on it, right?
But I think we saw St. Louis drop a little bit, as well as Nashville after their first years, and Charlotte has been pretty consistently top third, but not. I mean, to be their top of the West their first year is really impressive out of San Diego, and something you don't expect a team to hold up.
Maybe we can just ask Stan to buy San Diego and move them to Denver. Is that possible? Can we?
That's the type of strategy Rapids would pull.
You really because we'd ruin them. We'd ruin the team, right? We could bring in Miami here, and we'd find a way to mess that up.
Yeah, Matt, we can't have
office,
nice things.
Speaking of messing that up, I don't know if you guys saw this. I think this clip went pretty viral. Miami got boat raced by LAFC, and afterwards, Lionel Messi was seen being physically restrained by Luis Suarez from following the referees into the referees' room. Messi looked heated. Suarez looked panicked. And the result was getting the congressional treatment of, that's not what he meant. We're all just misinterpreting that. Nothing to see here, folks. Hand wave it away. I believe, who was it, Matt Miazga last season got a suspension for just the same thing.
Also, when Suarez is your voice of reason, we've got problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, can't you just nibble on him a little bit?
Yeah. Mike Tyson saying, I wouldn't eat that. Like, you just...
I mean, I think another thing I really want to pull out of that game, always fun when Miami shows their ass a little bit, but everyone's favorite couple in Son and Bouanga are just as unstoppable as they were heating up to at the end of last season. And to see Bouanga finding the back of the net, and then so I think Bouanga had a goal and an assist, and Son had an assist. Just to come out with that pairing and just wreck the GOAT is pretty fun.
Bouanga looked otherworldly, like MVP incoming if he keeps that pace and doesn't get sold.
Well, he's not a Rapid, so he probably won't.
Get sold or keep that pace?
Get sold.
There was the $15 million bid that came in for him from, was it Palmeiras?
Well, and not to just fangirl too hard, but Son was interviewed before the game on who would get the Golden Boot. And he, of course, said Bouanga. And he said, well, between you and Bouanga, like, what if it's you? And he's like, I really hope it's Denny, which was just precious.
Yeah, I want to watch that 30-minute sitcom. Like, CBS, ABC, NBC, we don't need another, like, 3-letter police agency show. I just want, like, Denis Bouanga and Sonny hanging out around LA.
It's heated rivalry MLS style, I swear.
I'll take your word for it, and I'm in.
Any
other around the MLS?
No, but I think we should take a second to look forward to this coming week. Are there any games that you're eyeing that you want to make sure you watch?
Monk, you want to go first?
No, I only watch the Rapids. We already know this. Like legit, that's the only thing I fit into my week is watching the Rapids. And with the way they performed, I should have just gone to bed. Because I sacrificed sleep for that.
Well, I'll pick a few. For me, it's Saturday evening. That's really my highlight, I think. I'm very curious to see Nashville, who played really, really well against FC Dallas at home. I think that's going to be, I want to see how Nashville performs on the road and whether FC Dallas is a good team or not. I think Vancouver versus Toronto is fun. I think Vancouver is historically a really good game. I think two Canadian teams playing each other is always really fun. And of course, want to see how Georgie does. And then Charlotte Galaxy, I think that 1-1 draw between St. Louis and Charlotte with Charlotte on the road didn't give me a good feel of actually what Charlotte looks like. And Charlotte overall dominated that game, which I think away in St. Louis at a pretty strong stadium is cool. So I also still believe Galaxy is garbage and will always believe Galaxy is garbage, but I'm curious actually to see if they're any better this year. So I think that that'll be an interesting matchup to see.
The two I'm spotlighting, I want to see this LAFC Houston Dynamo game. Like I said, I didn't expect the Dynamo to come out so hot. I did expect LAFC to, so I think that could be a really good game for just soccer fans to watch and a good test for what some of the powers that be in the West are going to look like. The other is another litmus test game in Seattle facing Salt Lake. Salt Lake lost 1-0 to Vancouver last week. We know Vancouver to be a good team last season. We expect them to be a good team this season. Conversely, we know Salt Lake to be a bad team last season. Hope for them to be a bad team this season. And I think the result they get against Seattle will tell us a bit about the Vancouver we will face here to come, but also about us and the Seattle team that we faced last week.
Yeah, and always curious to scope out our enemies, right? So I love that call out. Another one I'm curious about is the San Diego versus St. Louis. We have two of the more recent expansion teams. San Diego, who, as we talked about, just destroyed, and St. Louis, they'll be hosting St. Louis that drew that draw at home. So I'm really curious to see how they go. I generally think we're looking at a St. Louis that has lost some of their original stars that they came out the gate with. So I'm curious to see what that team looks like now.
Yeah. Joao Klaus in LA scored a goal. He might be the most unkempt looking person in LA outside of who knows.
And he had a hard time because my memory is correct, over the last 2 years spent a lot of time out on injury. So I don't feel like I ever fully appreciated what he could be. Wish he's well and hope that St. Louis doesn't have buyer's remorse or seller's remorse. We'll see.
All right. Monk, take us home. Literally.
All right.
Mountain Roads.
We have our first home game of the
place.
season.
I belong.
Going up against
Dick's Sporting
Cascadia.
Goods.
No, don't do that. We don't sing here.
So
See the Rapids.
we went to Charlie Brown's piano bar this weekend for Archie's birthday. And someone went up. It was like karaoke request piano with Katana Van Valen. So they knew every song. You'd go up request. You'd get the lyrics. They'd have the sheet music. And someone did Mountain Roads. Or no, I can't even think of it as not Mountain Roads. I mean, Country Roads. And four of us, it was me, Allie, Omar, and Archie, are all so ingrained in this that we literally just in the punk rock voice started to be like, Mountain Roads, take me home to the place I belong, Colorado. And I think people just thought we were...
And that is the story of how Matt was escorted out of Charlie Brown's.
Hey, shout out Charlie Brown's. First shout out of the season.
So
Charlie Brown's piano bar. It's
so cool.
Yeah.
You only get 10 this season.
You guys said that last season, and that didn't last like one segment.
I'm just going to start editing them out. I'll just sneak in.
I think our swear jar is going to have to become my shout-out jar from last season because we've really upped the Fs this time.
Yeah.
Charlie Brown's has a great happy hour,
They
too.
deserve the Fs that we're upping. I'm sorry. They deserve it.
All right. Speaking of upping the Fs, what's happening this weekend, Monk?
We're going up against Cascadia again. Portland, they're sitting fifth in the West with 3 points, one game into the season. They had 3 goals for and 2 goals against. And coming off of that win at home, right? They won at home against Columbus last week. And Cole Bassett got an assist and high praise from his coach, as we talked about earlier. The best performer on his team, the second best performer on the field. And we gave up that talent. And so now he's going to come back probably with even bigger chip on his shoulder into our stadium. And that scares me because if we put out the young team we just put out and they play the way they played, I don't see a lot of positives going into Portland. Obviously, we've gone over our 0-2 loss. Overall, Portland has our number with 17 wins to the Rapids 11 and 7 draws all time. What's even worse is that they won 5 out of the last 6. With last year being a 5-1 aggregate. This is just not looking good for us. They're a strong team. Maybe we get the advantage of being at home, but I don't know. This is going to be really, really, really hard for our Rapids. We have to bounce back and play nothing like we played last week to do anything, to have a chance at this game. I'm still going to predict a win, but the stats tell me that we're not going to win.
Well, and I want to remind
call
everyone.
Back to episode 1. Fuck your data.
Fuck your data.
Yeah.
So, and just a reminder for listeners. So the last time Colorado played Portland was in Portland. It was a 2-1 loss. But if you remember back, we talked a lot about this game because this is the game that Georgie preventatively subbed out of a preventative injury concern around I think the 60th minute or something. Wayne Frederick came in and somehow in the first 5 seconds he was on the field got the most wild red card, putting us down and costing us the game. And so because 10 minutes later with being a man down, we were scored on. So and to just remind us of this terrible moment in Rapids history. That was the second to last game that Georgie played for the Rapids. He played one more game against the Houston Dynamo, I believe, and then was gone. And so it was a rough last matchup that was a very Rapids loss. And so that's what we're coming off of last spring.
I think that's a great point, Sarah.
I'd love to pretend that the red card is going to be an issue, but based on the amount of cards and stupidity that we got last game, there could be a red card. We were blatantly dumb. Now some of them might have been soft, but there was multiple of those yellows. I was like, yep, what were we doing? And if we do that again,
I would bet on MLS partner Polymarket that there will be a red card. And remember, that's not gambling, folks. They are a partner of MLS because they are soccer future derivative prognosticators. It's not gambling, kids, when you're a partner.
What was the odds of getting a red card called back? I'm actually wondering, because if someone had that gamble,
man, if you would have put money on that.
Yeah. Oh, wow. No, Sarah, you brought up a great point about the second to last game for Georgie, because if someone comes out in this game and has a bad performance, I think this could be the second to last time we see them on a Rapids roster.
Oh.
And then Monk, your point, I think we're not going to see the same team that we saw, quite drastically so. In the press conference, Matt Wells said that every shirt is up for grabs. He later qualified that with outside of Alex Harris, so long as Alex Harris has a good week at training. So we could see a wildly different lineup. I was positing that we could come out with Navarro at the 9 and Alex Harris at the 10. I would, no offense to Yappy, I would love to see Alexi Mignoma start at left wing, put Sealy back, give him another chance at right wing, and then have Paxton as the 8 and Hamza as the 6 behind him. I think we probably see Jackson stay at left back. Matt Wells praised him in the conference. He said he was off, which was almost like a compliment compared to how he described everyone else. I could see, I think Lucas Harrington stays on at center back. We potentially see Rob Holding swap back in for Noah Cobb. I thought Noah Cobb was aggressive and was playing with high acceleration, but he did get caught out. And then I thought Keegan put in a shift such that he might come in and play for Reggie at right back. So I do think we could see, what would that be, four changes based on the lineup we saw last weekend?
I'm hoping you're right, and I think that coming home obviously I think will be good for us. It's hard to shake off that stuff sometimes, right? That was just a very it wasn't even just getting beat. We just played terribly, right? Like that's a different mentality when you get beat and it's a hard loss or something like that. But when you just played really badly, and with such a young team, right? Coming back out of that and be like, okay, we're at home. Let's be goldfish, as Ted Lasso would say, and we're just going to dominate at home and show people what we've got. That's the mentality we have to have. And a lot of young players, that's a harder thing to do. That's usually what you see out of your tenured players and your tenured leadership, to be able to do that. And so hopefully you get to see that out of your Aaronsons and your Steffens and your Navajos and even your Yappies. He's not the youngest player on the team no more. So watching some players have had some time in the league and played professional soccer a little bit more within the Rapids organization, I think really need to get these guys' heads straight.
Look how far we've come. Darren Yappy's teaching Lucas Harrington to shave. Like, no country for old men here in Commerce City.
You're muted.
Just a little bit of a correction. Georgie actually played for a little more than a month after that Portland game. Nonetheless, I still think it's a bad omen. Yeah, I think I share a lot of y'all's sentiments about this game. I think that if we are able to pull a win here, it's going to be that really wanting to ball out in front of your own fans, and it's going to be that home field advantage. I didn't look up the altitude for Portland, but I think we can assume it's pretty close to 0. But let's call back to last year. But
she's becoming lazy about it. She's like, no more fantasy segment. I'm not looking up the altitude. Just rely on being a pretty rugby model.
Yeah, I tried to retire. You wouldn't let me.
Fans listening, if anyone tried to retire this season, it was Monk and I. Sara forced us back to the table for this show.
She's been paying us for meetings relentlessly. Yeah. It's worse than my project manager.
Yeah, it's all whips and demands.
Join a podcast with 2 boys, they said. It'll be fun, they said.
Who is they in this situation?
Definitely not my therapist.
Your therapist is cleaning up. That she's the one who put the podcast together. We didn't bring her into the podcast. She brought us into the podcast.
Which just goes to show why Sara gets those predictions right, is because she's got a great eye for talent evaluation.
Yeah, and guys, you all know this, but fans should know that when MLS selling off fantasy nearly broke me. Like, I almost needed to go full inpatient after that, and I absolutely was ready to quit everything MLS for about 48 hours. But here I am in my cute new rugby jersey. So if anyone was wondering if there's life after fantasy MLS, turns out the answer is still unclear, but probably yes.
I don't know if they're going to use the abbreviation or if it will be as popular, but every time I saw someone say FMLS,
you're like, yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the game. I think we've got 2 very dangerous players to look at. We've got known Rapids killer Anthony. No. Known Rapids killer Anthony and revenge artist Cole Bassett, who was quoted last season, I believe, as saying, "Be better, not bitter." So I think we're going to see a top performance out of him in his homestand. And I'm pretty
scared of that.
scared, guys. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm scared of
Yeah.
that. Like he did well in the last game, and it's not against the people that sold him and that he's pissed at. So I can't imagine when he unleashes that. Our hope is that he does something stupid the first 5 minutes and gets a red card.
I think they're going to be.
And it's
I'll save it for predictions. I'm saving predictions.
yeah, and it's a place where he's comfortable playing, right? Like he's coming back home. His family will be in the stands. His like people will be wearing his jersey. Like it's not like
His Portland jersey and his Rapids
quite
jersey.
possibly. I was meaning his Rapids jersey, but
it's going to be really easy to spot Amy and the Bassett clan this weekend because they all show up in Bassett
wearing
jerseys,
green?
and they're all going to be new.
You think they're wearing green?
I don't know if they'll be the green or they'll be that light yellow away jersey that Colton was like the photo shoot poster boy for. Absolutely.
You think our Amy will show up to the Dick wearing Portland?
Yeah, and then flick a match over her shoulder on the way out. 100%. All I want out of this game is to spend as much time watching it with Amy Bassett as possible because that's where the popcorn's at.
I think that's an interesting bet because I could see her wearing either his old jersey or showing up in neither.
Not a chance in the world.
You think they're showing up in Portland gear?
That family is going to be decked out in Cole Bassett Portland Timbers jerseys.
They're probably going to be with Timbers Army.
I wouldn't be surprised if that would be epic. That would be some maximum shade.
She's got a chainsaw on the Dick.
She's the capo for Timbers Army. She's right beside our friend that plays the trumpet. I wouldn't be surprised if Slam is there. Like he gets the red eye flight in from Pittsburgh just for this occasion. Yeah,
their cousin twice removed that they don't actually like's probably showing up just in mass to give a big finger to.
Well, that's
Kroenke.
Sam Vines, and we waved him.
They had to overnight the jerseys to get him here on time.
Yeah,
fresh.
It's gonna be wild, y'all.
You're breaking my heart.
I will bet anyone. Let's go. I mean, not that because I don't gamble, but I will buy future derivatives in the probability that the Bassett clan are in Portland Bassett jerseys.
Okay, this is a really weird side quest, but gambling is haram in Islam. So I'm really curious what the official Islamic ruling is on these future dividends, on whether it's the religious loophole.
Well, isn't Kalshi owned by the UAE or something?
No, yeah, but you can't look at the Gulf as being good Muslims.
Oh, okay.
It's like a do as we say, not as we do vibe.
Like the South being good Christians.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Moral of the story for everyone is rich people are assholes no matter what religion.
Yeah.
That's facts. But
let's make
Matt,
some
what's your prediction
before
for the
we
score?
get canceled again. All right. I'm terrified and I don't know what to expect. I'm going 4-4 draw.
You just want to enjoy the game.
I think 4-4 draw. There are 2 red cards, and one of them is Cole Bassett, and the other is Darren Yappy. Actually, no. I think it's going to be Cole Bassett and Hamzat Ojederin, because I don't know, they maybe overlapped for what, a week. And I think they're going to be crossing paths quite a lot in the midfield. I think we see 2 red cards. I think Rapids are up 4-3. We all think we've surmounted our demons, and Anthony just puts the nail in the coffin of a really fun draw, to quote Sarah Fattori, in the 90+ third minute. I think goal scorers will be 2 for Anthony, 1 for Cole Bassett, and 1 for Forey. I think on our side, it's going to be 2 for Hoffa. I think 1 for Dante, and 1 for Alex Harris.
What team were you watching with the ability to score?
The team
Let
from the
alone score
first half of
4.
Seattle. I think it's going to go full Chaos Merchant, but they'll be fueled by the prairie gods and the pollution deep in the ethereal soil of Commerce City.
You're not allowed to go first anymore because that is a bullshit prediction. And now
No, 'cause
Monk's going to
Monk's
be
about to
like,
say
hold my
7-0.
beer. Exactly. Now Monk's going to be like, hold my beer. If we would have started with him, he would have said 4-0 and then you could say 4-4. But now we're going to get into like football scores. Sure, Monk. What's the score going to be? How many touchdowns are the Rapids getting this week?
25. No. Okay. Yeah, I was not going to go 4-0. I'm still not going to go 4-0.
Are you predicting a win?
I'm going to predict a win. There will not be a game that I don't predict a win. Like, I'm quitting the podcast and leaving the Rapids fan base the day that I don't predict a win. I'll talk a lot of shit. I'm going to tell you all through the shit how the stats are killing us. But at the end of the day, I have to believe as a fan that my team is going to win every game, or there's no point in me being a fan.
I'm just waiting.
So
the prediction style is going to start becoming. So no way Rapids win this. I predict 3-0 Rapids.
3-0. That's what I'm going with. 3-0 Rapids.
All right, tell us more.
I think that I'm going to give Hoffel 1, Aronson 1, and then I want Steely to get 1 because he looked not great to me. And if he doesn't, then I'm going to have to tell Matt that he's no longer the guy of the cast anymore because, like, I need him to step up.
Did you just stumble into the best nickname for Dante Seeley ever in Steely Dan? Oh my god.
Yeah,
okay,
Steely Dan is so fucking perfect.
I'm coming up the rest of my week. Everything else off the agenda. I'm just coming up with Steely Dan related puns for Dante for this weekend's
Steely Dan should
game.
be your fantasy team's name.
You're right.
That's a good one. Okay.
Yeah. And I think 1 red card to Cole because that's what we need. I feel like that's a need to get us the advantage.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's every level of the pyramid. Come on, predict a Cole Bassett red card, Sarah.
She's gonna be like, 0-8. The Rapids are terrible. They don't even show up. They just forfeit. They don't even step on the field.
It is easy to just always predict a win. You just pick what number you put before 0 each time and then name your 4 favorite players for goals.
And it's just easy to take the stats and assume we're going to lose every game.
You could predict that it gets postponed for the bubonic plague like in 2018.
That would be a really wild prediction. Or like we finally get snow.
Our black jerseys would be fire with plague masks. Oh my gosh, Sarah, you're totally on it. Our like 1-day game for the first time in years that's supposed to be 68 degrees, that'll be a Snow Classico.
My delay here is not because I'm debating whether to predict a Rapids win. I don't. I have 2 scores in my brain and I'm trying to think what to go with. I did not see a scoring team. Like, it wasn't just the fact that we were playing defense the whole time. It wasn't just the fact that Rothrock and Rusnak were having fun just taunting the shit out of our team on their half the whole time, or on our half the whole time. I did not see an offense, an ability to strike. And so, like, I'm struggling to even predict a Rapids goal. I'm definitely not predicting Rapids multiples. I think I'm going to go... I'm going to go 2-1. Let's go 2-1. 2-1 to Portland. I'm not giving Bassett 1. I think that is a lot of pressure on a player that maybe actually punched above his level a little bit. I'm so sorry, Amy. And you know what? If you show up in Portland gear, we're now even. I'll forgive you. You forgive me. I think it's going to take more adjustment. I think that was maybe a bit of a happy accident. I'll give 2 to Anthony, I think. Let's say Hoffa finds the back of the net on our side. 2-1. Honestly, I want to go 1-1 or 1-0, but I'm wanting to believe that the Rapids will find the back of the net.
Any other thoughts?
Oh, she's just gonna be a Debbie Downer the whole season.
And right.
Yeah, like why? Like, just Debbie Downer. We're never gonna be able to be positive in the cast again, Matt. We're just gonna have to like be like, oh, let's end the podcast. Like, Fattori can't go last anymore because we can't end on a positive note because she's just always gonna predict a loss.
Well,
So I
no
can't go
worries.
first. Fattori can't go last. So that means I have to go.
Where's the
I have to
diagram?
go.
Let me go look at the diagram.
What are
That
the?
that's like an LSAT logic game, which I
Mhm.
heard they got rid of, which was my favorite part of LSAT. So, we'll all end us on a uplifting, hopeful movement story as a point of personal privilege. I just wanted to update our fans. We're not a team that or a crew that hides away from local politics. And so I have in my work had the incredible privilege of working with the Sheridan Educators Association, which are the educators in Sheridan, Colorado. Their district has union busted and killed their union contract. And these educators have been building all year to a strike. So after hopefully watching the Rapids win this weekend, next week on March 4th, Sheridan educators are having a strike vote. If they do go on strike, it'll be the first open-ended strike of public sector workers, Colorado public sector workers, since I think Denver strike or South Park strike in like 2019. So it's been all consuming, and I appreciate this space to have hobbies and joke around with you all. But I also just really want to shout out that like real shit's happening in our little world, and shout out to the Sheridan educators.
Yeah, hell yeah, Sheridan educators. PIDCAST has your back as you march forth towards getting what's yours.
Agreed.
All right,
I'm still
up.
recovering from the disappointment of predicting 2 losses in a row to start the season.
Let's go up Sheridan and up the fucking pits.
Up the fucking pits.
And up Sheridan educators.
Boom.
Who the hell is gambling against Steely Dan? Like, get out of here with that shit.
Tú tienes esa cosa especial,